Yeah, it's taking some time. Okay, my internet is really, really slow today. Okay, so it's recording right now. So welcome everybody to our second class, our second session. We are gonna get started with a very short conversation. So I'm going to take you to breakout rooms right now. And what I would like you to do is to discuss a little bit about um, the um, the assessment test that we took, the listening test that we took last Saturday. I was checking the grades, and yeah, we're going to talk about that. Obviously, that's not evaluated for sure, but I would like you to give your impressions in small groups. So you're gonna be sent out to, you're gonna be sent out to the small groups. So we're gonna make groups of around 3 and 4, and you are going to be directed over there right now. So the conversation that we're going to have is about that, what you thought about the quiz, the test, if it was difficult, if at the end when you see the results, if that's what you were expecting better grade. So your impressions about the quiz. Okay, so you're going to be sent to the breakout rooms right now. We're going to be there for around 5 minutes, something like that. And we are you're going to go over there. Okay, so let's stay like around 4 to 5 minutes, and I'll let you know when we're going to come. Okay, someone is coming. When you're going to be back to the groups. Okay. Okay, Fatima. Okay, so we are slowly coming back to the main room. Okay, we're gonna wait a couple of seconds. Okay, meanwhile, um let's hear some of your comments about the quiz. I know I asked you about this last Saturday, and we had some time, well, for you to fill out the spaces in the platform. um I was kind of, I don't really know, kind of curious to know what happened. um because the test, well, I know it's kind of difficult, but some of you had very low grades, right? So I want to hear some of your comments about it. Anyone who would like? Okay, Arlie, tell me.
Hello, good afternoon.
Hi.
We were talking in the group. Actually, I was feeling very disappointed when I got my results.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought, well, I need to improve. But then, right now that we are sharing with the group, actually, we all got really bad grades.
Uh-huh.
And there is this option when we are getting our results, and is that we can check back our results. And
Mm-hmm.
some of the questions, I think this was an issue in the platform because, for example, one of the questions says, your answer is C, incorrect. The right
Uh-huh.
answer is C. So I was like, wait, this is weird.
Okay. Okay.
Unfortunately, I didn't take a screenshot now that I think about it, but
Okay. Okay.
I think it was an issue in the platform because I think I was maybe like 100% sure of more than half of the answers.
Okay.
And yeah, and I shared this with now the group. We were four in the group, and we all got like this issue. So I don't know,
Like 3 point something, right?
3 point something, two
Yeah.
point something, and we were sure for at least like the first question. So that's kind of
Okay.
weird. I don't
Okay.
know. Yeah.
Okay. So what about the rest of the group? I mean, is it the same feeling?
Yeah.
Hello.
Hey, Jordan.
Yes, we were talking about, the concern that we have about the grades, and I think I agree with my classmate. I think it's a problem in the platform because,
Yeah.
as my classmate were saying, at least from the first one, let's say one to tutorial, I was sure that I'm going to have good grades, but
Yeah.
then when I got my result, I was shocked that almost from 1 to 15 I got all wrong. So
Uh-huh.
definitely there is something wrong with the platform.
Yeah, probably. I'm gonna check that out. What I'm gonna do for you to check the results, please. I hope that you didn't throw away the piece of paper where you were taking notes. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna paste the answer sheet. That's what I was going to do, at first. But like working with the platform, sometimes it's kind of risky. So, and about the technical issue, and that's something that Arlie said, that the answer, and I tried, every single item I checked, I double checked that the answers were fine. It's not that I did it in a hurry. I took some time. That what on Monday I did it. I took an extra day to check and revise. But it's kind of weird, like what Arlie said, that you know wrong answer C, the right answer is C. I mean, I think was something from the platform. So that's what I'm gonna do. Um, I'm gonna post. I'm gonna take a screenshot of the of the correct answers for you to have it, and and you can double check. But besides that, I mean, the point was, I mean, about practicing. Anyone else would like to add something not related? Not related to the platform, because I'm saying, I double check that they were the correct answers, that it was the right audio, that it was the same thing that we were listening. Someone else, are you used to having this type of listening exercises, or you think it is more challenging than what you expected?
Hello.
Hi, Tatiana.
Uh, what I can say about the test is that I took it before this class
Mm-hmm.
because I have uh, like a book with that test. But
Mm-hmm.
I did it when you put it in the class last
Uh-huh.
Saturday.
Uh-huh.
And when I check, well, I I answered the question in the platform,
Mm-hmm.
and then I I reviewed the answers because I got 12 out of 50.
Uh-huh.
But I remember that I had the book with the answer key,
Uh-huh.
so I check it, and the answer like well all different.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I don't know why.
I'm I'm gonna check that out. Yeah, because
Okay.
as I'm telling you, I took it from the book because I had the book too and the audios and everything. And but I'm gonna check that out.
Yeah, because I think that we all have working with that type of listening.
Uh-huh.
So I
Okay.
don't.
Okay. Okay. Good. So I'm gonna go and check that out. Probably it probably was something that I messed up with the orders, with the order of the answers and everything. But I'm gonna upload the answer key. Okay. Uh, anyway, besides that, I was just trying to make you feel, like getting into the type of listenings that we're going to work on during the class. Also, for those who haven't checked the platform, I uploaded two websites, well, two links, in which you had to practice your listening and upload the screenshot, because like all these listenings are specialized for this type of context. What I'm gonna do, and I was talking to Mr. Peña about this. It's is that in this course, the purpose of this course is to try to help you prepare a little bit to take the test, the TOEFL test, which is something that you are required to do. Got it? So in order to do that, well, it would be part of taking a test, a book as a reference, or different books, because I have some books related to that, and also with some supplementary material. Got it? Some supplementary material, some links, and some other exercises that would be posted on the platform, just like the ones that we had this last week. Um, I'm going to talk a little bit about the test, which is that's something um, that that you need to know, to get ready for for um, for taking the test. Now, it is about this, and I'm going to be talking about the format. Probably some of you may be familiarized with this. Some of you may say, I already know about that. But basically, just as a general term, uh, to talk a little bit about how the test works. Remember, all these videos are recorded, and the link of the class is posted in the platform through YouTube, through YouTube. So this is the format of the test. This is what you experienced. Um, this is what you experienced last class. Last class, you developed an exact test like the one that you're going to see uh, for when taking the TOEFL. I may say, I don't know if you have talked to Mr. Peña about it, but the test has taken different options, right? You have the IBT, that is the internet-based test. You have the paper-based test, and you also have the institutional test, which is the one that people from UNIVO take, because you have Centro Cultural over there in San Miguel, and you may take it. So I don't really know how it's working right now, but as far as I know, or I heard, I don't know if that has changed, um, you are taking the test online, right? And you need to meet certain requirements to take the test. It is a little bit more expensive, as far as I know, but the format of the listening test keeps the same. The test has three parts. I'm going to be talking about the first part right now, and we're going to have an exercise at the end. And later, but before, and we're going to watch a YouTube video with some tips that may help you, become familiarized and practice your listening. That's what we want, right? So the test, as I said, has three parts. The first part is the dialogue section. that has around 30 items. Then we have the part B, that is it is extended conversations, that is 2 conversations between 7 to 8 items. It can be more or it can be less, but at the end, it's 2 conversations. And the part C, that has mini talks or lectures, those are 3 talks, and they are 12 to 13 items. For me, part C seems to be the most complicated every time I take the test. Um, I may say I have taken the test like 4 times. The first one I did it because I wanted to know my English proficiency level, and it was not probably the result that I was expecting, right, at first. And then the second time I took it when I applied for the scholarship, and then the third time I took it, you know, when I was in the process of looking for my university in the United States. And the fourth time that I took it was when I was in the United States, because they asked me for a certain score, and I needed to meet that standard. And I took the test 4 times. And obviously, every time that you take the test, you become more familiarized and you are more acquainted. It's everything is about practice, right? Um, it's not only about what you may see in your English classes, what you experience in your English classes, but also the interest that you show to learn, right? Because we can be in this course, we can develop some exercises, but if you do not look for more content or more material to practice by yourself, I mean, that would hinder a little bit your scores in the future. So my suggestion, try to practice as much as you can. And in here, I mean, not only for the listening test, for the other sections too. Practice, practice, and practice. Practice makes perfection. That's the saying, right? So as a total, the listening comprehension test has uh, 50 items. The length is between 30 to 40. It will depend. Obviously, there are some exams that take longer. I don't know why, but it seems to be that sometimes it's shorter, sometimes it's longer. But at the end, they are 50 items, right? They are 50 items. So that's the peculiarity of the test. Now, talking about strategies to take the listening section, and these remember that we're going to have a quiz soon in 2 Saturdays. On Saturday number 4, we're going to have a quiz, and this is going to be part of the quiz too. So that's why it's good to take notes. I'm going to upload the PowerPoint presentation also to the platform so you can see it, and also the video for you to review it. So the first strategy is to familiarize with the directions of each part. It's really important not only to take the test and be there, and at the end, at the beginning, you are expecting like what is going to be about, which is going to be. No, you need to get familiarized with it. Please, this is not only for the listening test, make sure that you understand what you're going to do, to follow the directions, that the instructions are clear. For the listening test, it always tells you what you're going to do, and it always gives you an example. Even if you are familiarized with the test and you say, oh, I'm gonna relax, that person is speaking and blah blah blah, I mean, try to listen, try to concentrate with the example given in the textbook, or in the test, if you're going to take it at the moment. to get familiarized, to feel comfortable. Also, if you are having difficulties hearing the audio, inform the person who is with you, right? Uh, why? Because once the track is played, you cannot stop it. You cannot, and the test has to continue, right? So you need to make sure that everything is set. If you're gonna take it online, uh, to be in a place with internet that is fast enough. Also with a camera, I think they take a picture too. Um, um, I think that for the test you can take notes only for the last section, because like you have more time to take notes. Feel free to take notes if you can, and be ready. Get water, not too much water, because then you want to go to the PP room. But everything has to be clear. And another thing, and this happens with people that usually get frustrated when they don't understand. Never skip any item. Never. Never skip items. If you are not sure, I mean, as we say it in El Salvador, like Team Marine, I mean, you can't leave spaces. First, because if you leave a space in blank, probably you may get confused with the following question. I don't know. You just put a mark probably, or write it down, but make sure that you don't leave the space, or at least you have something when you say, hey, pay attention to this. Because once it happened to me, I said, no, I don't know this one. And then I forgot that I left the space in blank. And then with the next section, I started filling out the bubbles. And then I realized that I left the space in blank, and then I had to erase at the moment the answers, and like three or four. And while the audio was being played, I was erasing. It was so frustrating. It was really frustrating, and just because I skipped one answer. So if you don't know, guess. I mean, nobody's checking, and nobody's in your head, trying to understand if it is correct or not. I mean, it's not a sin if you guess. Got it? Now, another strategy. Answer as quickly as you can. Why? Because if you answer quickly, then you are going to have the opportunity to look for the other question, to be familiarized with the choices, with the questions, and etc. So my recommendation is, if you probably have problems to listen and you don't think you are fast enough, start practicing. One tip that I always tell students who take the test is, try to be as fast as you can, and then preview the next question. Be familiarized, for example, with the vocabulary. If you read the vocabulary from the next question in advance, it would be easier for you to understand when the track is when you are listening to the track. Got it? Another thing, concentration. Concentration, please. If you chose an answer, that's it. I mean, you don't need to go back and think, was it okay? Was not okay? Ay, no sé si estaba correcto, no sé si estaba incorrecto. I mean, once it's done, I mean, it's done. I mean, you don't have time to start wondering if the answer was okay or not. Got it? So Don't overthink about what happened. Don't do that. Good. Now, so we have some strategies over here. Um, for those who like to listen and to practice and etc., probably they may be new for you. Maybe they may not be. Another strategy that is not there, but I also have implemented it, and that I ask people to do too. If you have the chance to write down, um, you can write abbreviations, for example. That happens to me when it says a man and a woman, right? So I say M, woman, W. Uh, or you just use drawings, for example, if you're good at drawing. That strategy works for people, like who are visual, uh, who are visual learners, and that may work out. Good. So those are some strategies. At the end of the presentation, I'm going to ask some people to paraphrase this, so you can tell me some of the some of the strategies that we're checking right now. So the first thing is the dialogue section. Normally, the dialogue section tells you what is about. It introduces the dialogue by saying, in this conversation, a woman and a man are discussing about this. So the dialogue itself, the introduction, tells you what it is about. Now, the third person or the third voice that you use is the person who asks the questions. Got it? So it always tells you it's a conversation between a woman and a man, or it tells you a student and a professor. So it tells you, it prepares you to hear or to be ready to differentiate voices. Now there are four answer choices. There are four answer choices: A, B, C, and D. And also, I mean, probably you may not see this as important, but between the ending of a question and the beginning of the second one, there are 12 seconds. In these 12 seconds, uh, you answer and you can visualize what is next. So careful. Example item. This one comes from a listening. The person says, "Do you think I should leave this chair against the wall or put it somewhere else?" Over the window, I'd say. So there is this the person asking, what does the woman think the man should do? And then you see the answers. You will read in your textbook. Open the window, move the chair, leave the room, take a seat. You can infer, and that's what we're going to do in our next class next Saturday. We're going to work on making inferences. So in this case, that it tells you, I mean, this one. Do you think I should leave this chair against the wall or put it somewhere else? Over the window. So M1 is man and F1 is F as female. M2, men 2. So the woman suggests to move the chair. So it's option B. Now, as I said, most of the dialogues involve a man and a woman, right? sometimes, but rarely, but really, really rarely, uh, can be between two men or between two women. Normally is a man and a woman, just that. It's very, as I said, it's very weird to see two men or two women. Now, as it says over there, every speaker usually speaks one or two sentences. They don't speak too much. In this section, they don't speak too much. This is the easiest section. And the topics that people speak during these dialogues is about academic. 25% of them is about university matters. Attending classes, a professor talking to a student. It's about an assignment, for example, like papers or taking tests. Now, the rest probably, so when I said that 25% of the topics, I'm talking in general, right? In general, in all the tests, not only in this one, but most of the time, I may say a little bit higher than 25% is about university thing. Then the rest of the test is about some other things like shopping, ads, um, buying something like a house, vacations, meetings, or parties. And the tone of the dialogue is very informal. This section is very informal. They use idioms and contractions. And that's something that we're going to study, and you're going to watch a video, and we're going to practice this in groups. You will be assigned in pairs. You will have time to practice this. First to speak and also to interact with someone and learn and listen more. Also, in these type of in the conversations, in the dialogues, you are asked for your thought about if the persons speaking agree or disagree, or if they accept or reject something. Now let's check the type of questions. So the type of questions that this section is about is, what does the man or the woman mean? Or what do the speakers say about? For example, you see one professor and one student. The student is asking for a revision of the test example. So it's asking for revision. So you will be asked, what do the speakers say about this? This is the 50% of the questions in this section. It's really high. Why? Because what the test is meant to do is to check if you understood something, that you are able to provide a meaning by answering. Then we have some other type of questions that are the inference question, like what does the man or the woman imply, or what can be inferred from this conversation, or what can be concluded from this conversation. These are so these take the 20%. We have the 50 from meaning, 20% is inference. And the difficulty for the inference questions is that the answers are not from the conversation. That's something that when you see the answers, you may understand. Got it? So they are not there. You think about them. And then we have the other type of questions that are about suggestions and about future actions. Based on what they hear, what would they suggest? Or what will the man do? Now, another type of questions is about what they are talking about, what they are discussing, or about opinions, or about assumptions, or questions about questions. These ones are not so common, but they are there. So as we could see, the 50% is about meaning, the 20% is about inferences, and then the rest, the 30%, is about questions about suggestions, future actions, topic questions, opinions, assumptions, and questions about questions. Questions about time, when is this conversation taking place? Or questions about reasons. Also, there are questions, there may be questions about problems. What is the problem? What is the main problem in the conversation? Or in a specific, what problem does the man have? Or questions about activities. What are the speakers probably going to do? Another type of question that probably is not there, but I have seen it during taking the test, is about where is the conversation probably taking place. So it says here about time, when, but also it's about where. Where is the conversation taking place? So this is a presentation. You see there are different types of questions, and this is just for part A. Now I'm gonna play this this video. I'm gonna stop the video in one specific section, and what we're going to do, I'm gonna ask you to do something, and you're going to work in pairs to try it out and to practice this. So I would like you to listen right now to these people, and it is a British person. So some of the things that we mentioned last class is that probably one of the problems we have for listening is the different types of accents. So we're going to listen to a British person and an American lady. So let's listen. I'm going to pause the video later, and we're going to have a practice.
I'm sorry, Mr. But we cannot hear it.
Let me see. I'm going to share my screen again.
English learners find it difficult. Tina, and welcome to Oxford Online English.
Can you hear now? Yeah, right?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
In this lesson, you can learn how to understand native speakers in English. Many English learners find it difficult to understand native speakers, even after years of study. This can be frustrating and demotivating.
However, there are some simple things you can do to improve your English listening and make it easier to understand native English speakers. In this lesson, you'll see 5 simple tips you can use to understand native English speakers more easily.
Look at this sentence. I am from France. Imagine you're talking to someone. How would you say it? Would you say this sentence with the contraction? I'm from France? Or would you say the full form? I am from France.
Now think about these sentences. He has already told me. I would like to see that film. They will not be here until tomorrow. All of these sentences can be contracted. Can you see how? He's already told me. I'd like to see that film. They won't be here until tomorrow. Would you pronounce the contractions or not? Think about it and be honest. It's not a test.
Here's the problem. Many English learners don't use enough contractions when they speak. They use the full form. For example, he has instead of he's. If you don't use contractions when you speak, it will be difficult to understand them when you're listening. Why is this a problem?
Native speakers almost always use contractions when they're speaking. If you find it difficult to understand contractions, you'll always have problems when you're trying to understand native speakers. So, what's the solution?
Very simple. Use contractions more in your speech. To do this, choose a simple topic. For example, your family, and record yourself speaking for 1 minute. Listen to the recording and try to find any places where you could have used contractions, but didn't. Then, repeat the exercise and try to use more contractions. Then, try again with a different topic. If you use contractions yourself, it'll become easier to understand them.
Okay. So this is what we're going to do right now. I have paused the I have paused the recording and the video because that's what we're going to do right now. We're going to practice this. If you remember, if moving into the first one, what they were talking about. So this is the first one. Use contractions when you speak. What they have said is that probably the problem that we have is that we do not use enough contractions, and this makes us a little bit more like slow when trying to understand audios. And this is what we're going to do right now. Let's see. Here, what they said, one of the easiest ways to practice listening is practicing. And they have said that the best option would be if we put it into practice using as many contractions as possible. Got it? And so this is the exercise that we're going to do. You're going to be directed to breakout rooms, to small breakout rooms, and we are going to be working in pairs. Got it? We're going to be working in pairs. And you're going to take turns because, you know, this is more private. This is more private, and we're going to practice, and we're going to be giving feedback. Okay, so for this exercise, what I would like you to do is to give feedback to the person speaking, right? The purpose is to use as many contractions as possible, and the person who's listening after listening to his or her classmate is going to give feedback about two things. The first feedback is about the use of contractions. If you've used contractions enough where you would make contractions. So that'll be the first one. The second one will be about giving feedback about the person's thoughts. Got it? So what we are going to do, the person in the video suggested to talk about topics that may be easier for us to understand and also to speak, right? This is the thing. The topic is going to be family. Got it? It's going to be family. Um, we are going to be working in pairs. Say, uh, you will be directed to groups in pairs. Let's see, everybody's going to be in pairs. And it would be one trio. It would be pairs and one trio, and you're going to be talking about family. So you're going to be talking about your family. Uh, and at the end, as I said, the person listening is going to be giving feedback about using contractions and also giving feedback to the person about what they heard. Got it? We are going to be developing this exercise for 10 minutes. So right now it's 3:07. You're going to be working in 10 minutes. Just let me this. Good. So it's 10 minutes. We're going to get started right now. You're going to see the countdown, and then we're going to be back here. Then we're going to be talking about this exercise. Remember, you're going to be talking about family. You're going to take turns. One person is going to give feedback about using contractions. You're gonna be paying attention to using contractions, specifically listening about this, and also giving feedback about what the people say. For example, if one person says, "Oh, my sister is a psychologist and she works for the Ministry of Education," so then at the end, the person listening is gonna give feedback, and you say, "Oh, so you said that your sister works as a psychologist," and then you're gonna say it. Got it? So that's what we're going to do. We're going to be there for 10 minutes, and you're going to be sent to the rooms right now. Okay, so we're back after this exercise. Did you have enough time? Was it okay, like 10 minutes? Did you have enough time? Someone would like to share that in the chat. Was it okay? You needed more time?
Yeah, I mean, we have enough time, but the thing is, the thing was that we're only two, and the group, the
Okay.
conversation was like a little bit short.
Oh, okay. But that depended on you, right? Because if you had 10 minutes, well, I mean, you had the possibility to speak, right? To speak as much as you could, but that was all up to you. Yeah, it was enough for it was enough for me. Okay, good. Thanks for the feedback, Chris. Yeah. Okay. So that was the first part of improving listening. The first tip shared by the people in the video, that you are able to use contractions. Also, remember, listening and speaking go by hand. If you develop listening, you may have the possibility also to increase different aspects of your speaking skills too. We are going to continue with the second tip. gonna share the second the rest of the video, then we're going to have another activity. And there we are. So let's check the second one.
Here's a simple question in English which is often difficult for English learners to understand. What are you doing? Why do so many people find it difficult to hear this question correctly? Let's look. First of all, the letter T in the word what is usually not pronounced. It changes to a D sound, or it's reduced to a glottal stop T. Secondly, the word are is not pronounced R. It doesn't rhyme with car or far. It changes to a very short sound, Next, the word you is not pronounced you. It doesn't rhyme with to or do. It also becomes a very short sound, y. Finally, the words are not pronounced with spaces in between. The whole question is pronounced like one long word.
So the question which is written, what are you doing, sounds like, what are you doing? Of course, if you think are should be pronounced are, and you should be pronounced you, and so on, you'll expect to hear, what are you doing? And of course, you probably won't understand the natural pronunciation. What are you doing? What can you do about this?
Here are two suggestions. One, learn about weak forms. Weak forms are words which have a different pronunciation in a sentence. Learning about weak forms can show you that there is some logic to English pronunciation, even though you might not think so. Two, pay attention to how people speak. Don't think about what you read in your English textbook. Listen to how people pronounce words and sentences in real life. You'll realise that there's a big difference between textbook English and natural English. Another good exercise here is dictation. Choose something to listen to, like a podcast or a YouTube video, which is not too difficult. Listen for 1 minute. Try to write down everything you hear. Pause as often as you need to. This way, you can train yourself to follow native English speech.
Okay, good. So so right now these persons came up with the second suggestion to improve our listening, which is to know about weak forms of language, or to pay attention to the different types of pronunciations that we have, right? Now, one of the recommendations that these persons were talking about is to have dictations, right? To have a dictation. Now, we are not going to do that. We are not going to take dictations, obviously, but we are going to listen to a podcast. Got it? Now, with the podcast, we're going to listen to a podcast right now. Just give me 1 second. I'm working on that right now. My internet is really slow. Just give me a second. I'm gonna turn off my camera. And what we're going to do is we're going to listen to a podcast, right? Obviously, we are not going to listen to the whole podcast, because it takes like 12 minutes. And we are going we're going to take like around 3 to 4 minutes of the podcast. Later, I'm going to share the link with you. But what I'm going to do right now is, and this is the exercise, because the persons over here are suggesting to take notes and to be familiarized, right, with dictations. And I'm going to play the podcast with you. I'm going to share my screen. And this is the podcast. Um, we're gonna listen like around 5 minutes, and later we are going to do an activity related to this podcast. So your task is take notes, uh, take the ideas down in a piece of paper, and later you're going to share what you wrote with the class, trying to get the main idea and details. Okay?
Hello, everyone. Mignon has a terrible cold, so I'm Ellen Hendrickson, the host of a different Quick and Dirty Tips podcast, The Savvy Psychologist, and I'm going to narrate Grammar Girl for you today. This week, because it's National Grammar Day on March 4th, we have a list of Mignon's top 10 language myths. And then, because it's also the Chinese Year of the Dog, we have a rundown of some fun origins of the names of dog breeds. And at the very end, I'm going to tell you about a National Grammar Day limerick contest you can enter on Twitter. And now, on to those language myths. March 4th is National Grammar Day, so I have a special top 10 show to celebrate the occasion. And before you argue with me, listen to the whole explanation about why each of these is a myth. So here are Grammar Girl's top 10 language myths. Number 10, a run-on sentence is a really long sentence. Wrong. They can actually be quite short. In a run-on sentence, independent clauses are squished together without the help of punctuation or a conjunction. If you write, I am short, he is tall, as one sentence without a semicolon, colon, or dash between the two independent clauses, it's a run-on sentence, even though it only has 6 words. Number 9, you shouldn't start a sentence with the word however. Wrong. It's fine to start a sentence with however, so long as you use a comma after it when it means nevertheless. Number 8, irregardless is not a word. Wrong. Irregardless is a bad word and a word you shouldn't use, but it is a word. Floogity flop isn't a word. I just made it up and we have no idea what it means. Irregardless, on the other hand, is in almost every dictionary labeled as non-standard. You shouldn't use it if you want to be taken seriously, but it has gained wide enough use to qualify as a word. Number 7, there is only one way to write the possessive form of a word that ends in S. Wrong. It's a style choice. For example, in the phrase Kansas's statute, you can put just an apostrophe at the end of Kansas, that's AP style, or you can put an apostrophe S at the end of Kansas. That's Chicago style. Both ways are acceptable. Number 6, passive voice is always wrong. Wrong. Passive voice is when the subject of the sentence isn't the person or thing taking the action. In fact, in a passive voice sentence, the actor is often completely left out of the sentence. An example is, mistakes were made, because it doesn't say who made the mistakes. Your writing is often stronger if you make your passive sentences active, but if you don't know who is responsible for an action, passive voice can be the best choice. Number 5, IE and EG mean the same thing. Wrong. EG means for example, And IE means roughly in other words. You can use EG to provide a list of incomplete examples, and you use IE to provide a complete clarifying list or statement. Number 4, you use A before words that start with consonants and an before words that start with vowels. Wrong. You use A before words that start with consonant sounds and an before words that start with vowel sounds. So you'd write that someone has an MBA instead of a MBA because even though MBA starts with M, which is a consonant, it starts with the sound of the vowel E, MBA. Number 3, it's incorrect to answer the question, how are you, with the statement, I'm good. Wrong. You probably learned that verbs need to be modified by adverbs, such as well. But good isn't modifying am in the sentence I am good. Instead, good is acting as the subject complement and modifying the pronoun I. It's also fine to answer I'm well, but some grammarians believe I'm well should be used to talk about your health and not your general disposition. Number 2, you shouldn't split infinitives. Wrong. Nearly all grammarians want to boldly tell you it's okay to split infinitives. An infinitive is a verb form that is usually made up of the word to followed by a verb. An example is to tell. In a split infinitive, another word separates the two parts of the verb. To boldly tell is a split infinitive because boldly separates to from tell. And number 1 is you shouldn't end a sentence with a preposition. Wrong. You shouldn't end a sentence with a preposition when the sentence would mean the same thing if you left off the preposition. That means where are you at is wrong, or at least annoying, because where are you means the same thing. But there are many sentences where the final preposition is part of a phrasal verb or is necessary to keep from making stuffy, stilted sentences. I'm going to throw up. Let's kiss and make up. And
Okay. So that was the podcast. The podcast comes from a website called The Grammar Girl. So The Grammar Girl is a podcast in which this lady, not this one, it is another one. So as you could hear, this one was just co-hosting because the Grammar Girl was not there. So the Grammar Girl talks about different topics, and in this specific podcast, she talks about the 10 most common or the 10 myths in grammar. Good. Anyone who would like to share, raise his or her hand and talk about the first one? Volunteer. People. Okay, Tatiana.
I guess that the first one that the video said that it was that the just the long sentence are correct. That's like the myth.
Uh-huh.
And the woman answered that it was false.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay, good. So yeah, Tatiana was talking about that type of sentences. I don't know if you took grammar or composition. There is a type of sentences called run-on sentences. So what she was talking about is that run-on sentences usually the idea people have is that run-on sentences are long, but not necessarily they are long. Run-on sentences can be short. Yeah, what Tatiana said, yeah, was okay, partially okay. It was run-on sentences. Okay, number 2. Who remembers about number 2?
Um, can I?
Yeah, go, Ricardo.
she said that the myth said that it wasn't okay to say however in the beginning of a sentence. But then she explained it that it's okay to start a sentence with however. But if you wanna use it or wanna like develop the kind of sentence, you have to put a comma right after
Exactly,
the word.
exactly. That's it. Perfect. Thank you, Ricardo. Exactly, that's it. What Ricardo said is okay about the use of however. That however is not good to use it at the beginning. You can use it if you place a comma. Good. Number 3. Number 3. No, don't remember number 3. Okay, so what she said is that some people think that that's the myth that due regardless is not a word, and due regardless is a word. You may use it in different ways, and it is already found in the dictionary. That's what she said. Okay, that was number 3. Number 4.
About number 4, what I
Mm-hmm.
remember is that she says that the myth is that you can't write an S when you are in the, I think this is the possessive. If,
Yeah.
for example, Kansas at the end, you only put an apostrophe if you want to say like Kansas tattoos or something. But
Mm-hmm.
actually, she said you can either put the apostrophe and no S at the end, or an apostrophe and then an S to say like Kansas tattoos.
Okay, perfect. That's it. That the myth is, and some people say that when a word ending S, you just need to write the apostrophe and no add the S. You can do it. It depends on the style. That's what she said. It depends on the writing style. Very good. Thank you, Art. Number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Number 5.
Oh, well, what I remember is that she said that the myth is that passive voice is always wrong, but it is a mistake because passive voice is used when the speaker is focused on the action rather on the than on the doer of the action.
Yes, perfect. Perfect. Thank you so much, Nancy. Exactly. That's it. People usually say that using passive voice is wrong. Got it? Good. And it's not true. Depends on the nature that you want to give or the emphasis of the question or the answer. Tatiana, do you want to go for number 6? When I see your hand raised.
I
I would
guess,
like
yeah.
Okay, yes. Who wants to go for the next one?
I would like to say it if
Okay,
you
go.
allow
Good,
me.
good. Thank
Okay.
you.
The myth says that IG is the same as IE,
Mm-hmm.
but it is not true. IG
Mm-hmm.
means, for example, and
Mm-hmm.
IE means in other words.
In other words, exactly. Very good. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Exactly. That's it. People think when they see it, IE and EG, that is the same thing, but it's not the same thing. Yes. Very good. Thank you so much for that. It was Lydia, right? Thank you, Lydia. Then the next number 7. Yes. Okay, Ana Iris.
Yes. I'm not sure, but she said that we use a before word that start with consonant letter and before word that start with vowels. But it's wrong because we use a before word that start with consonant sounds and before word that start with vowel sound.
Exactly. Very good. Thank you so much. Exactly. People, and that's something that teachers usually say. Le van a poner a y si la siguiente palabra empieza con consonante. Y vamos a decir an si la siguiente palabra empieza con vocal. Y siempre dicen an umbrella, an orange. But that's not true. I mean, that's not true. That's the easiest way to explain it. But we are talking about consonant and vowel sounds. For example, you say MBA, the example that the lady gave. M it starts with a sound. Or the same happens with people may think so you say an MBA. You don't say IMBA, right? Or also, for example, when you say, and this is very common, people say an university, when logically you don't say university, you say university. So it is a university, not an university. So that's the myth. Number 8. Okay, Veronica.
Okay, she said that is incorrect. Answer the question, how are you? With I'm good. Because
Mhm.
it's better say I'm well because it's about your health.
Exactly. Exactly. Because when you say I'm good, when you say good is an adjective, and adjectives modify nouns, right? I'm good. So you don't say I'm good. I mean, technically, you don't say, people say it, but you rather say I'm doing well, right? Or I'm well, because well may be an adverb too. And it's not okay to say I'm good. Number 9. Number 9. Number 9. Okay, so number 9, and what the lady was saying, that the myth is that it's not okay to split infinitives, right? When people usually split infinitives, right? It's not, for example, when you say, I want to work. I mean, obviously, there are some verbs that are compound verbs, and they need to be splitted, right? So the myth is about splitting infinitives. And the last one, what is the last one?
You shouldn't, the myth says you shouldn't end a sentence with a preposition, but she said that's not true because it's correct to do if you can do it, or if the verb is with the preposition. I don't remember the rest, just that.
Okay, but it's fine. The myth is that you should not end a verb with a preposition. And that's the myth. You shouldn't do it. But there will be some times that you may end the sentence with a preposition. So this is what they were saying about practicing you listening to podcasts and to be familiarized with different types of a language pattern. So we're going to continue with the rest. We're going to continue with the rest. Okay, that is the part 3, 4, and 5. So what we're going to do, because we're about to finish with the class, and then we're going to have more exercises. I'm not going to be able to post the exercises, so I'm going to leave them. I'm going to leave them in the platform. I'm going to find out. I'm going to find a way how to do that. I'm going to post the exercises in the platforms for you to practice. So that will be the assignment. So that's why I'm going to, we're going to go over the last 3, 4, and 5. And later we are going to discuss about them. So let's listen to 3, 4, and 5.
Look at a question with a word missing. What's the missing word? You ready? If you're an average English student, you said that the missing word is are. That's the correct answer, but it's also not the best answer.
What? How can the correct answer not be the best answer? What are we talking about? Actually, the best answer is that there are no words missing. You can just say, "You ready?" In spoken English, you don't need to say are. In fact, you can make the question even shorter and just say, "Ready?"
Native speakers very often leave out words like this. Again, if you're expecting to hear a full question, these shorter questions can be confusing. So, when can you leave out words like this?
In yes-no questions, which have the word you, it's often possible to make the question shorter. For example, have you finished? Are you going? Do you want to come? All of these questions can be shortened. You finished? Or finished? You going? Or going? You want to come? Or want to come? So, what should you do?
Try to use these shortened questions when you speak. Like all of this advice, you need to use it yourself. If you use it when you speak, it'll be easier for you to understand others who speak in this way. Remember that native speakers very often shorten questions like this.
Here's a question. Do you need to understand every word to understand what someone is saying? What do you think? Very often, English learners focus on the parts they don't understand. That's natural, but it's not always helpful.
To answer our question, no, you do not need to hear and understand every word to understand someone's message. Imagine that you are in the kitchen with your friend who is cooking something. Your friend asks you a question and you hear, "Can you?" Okay, so you didn't hear or understand the full question, but that's often not a problem. First of all, you heard the words, "Can you?" So you know that your friend wants you to do something. Secondly, you're in the kitchen, cooking. Whatever your friend wants, it's almost certainly connected to that. Probably, your friend needs you to help with something or give them something.
By using the context, you can often understand someone without hearing every word. But, you say, that's not really understanding native speakers. I want to understand native speakers, not guess what they mean. Actually, native speakers do this too. You probably do it in your own language, so there's no reason not to do it in English. Don't think, I don't know the word, so I can't understand the sentence. It's not true.
And if none of this works, use another simple trick. Ask. Ask the person, "What did you say? Can you say that again?" Again, native speakers do this all the time. There's no reason you shouldn't do it too. Often, English learners are afraid to ask someone to repeat something or to admit they don't understand. But if you do this, you have no chance to understand and no chance to communicate. Remember, no one understands everything everyone says, and it's completely natural to ask someone to say something again. Let's look at one more important tip.
Here's a question. What does native English sound like? Here's another question. Do you prefer the sound of British English or American English? Actually, those are both terrible questions, which make no sense. Do you know why? The reason these are bad questions is there's no such thing as British English. If you think about British English, you probably imagine someone speaking like this.
But most British people don't sound anything like that. It's the same for American English. People from different places and different backgrounds will speak in different ways. Then, of course, there are many other countries where English is officially the first language. Ireland, Zambia, Australia, Kenya, Canada, Papua New Guinea, New Zealand, Belize, South Africa, Singapore, and many more. The world of English is much bigger than just the UK and the US, and you'll be a better English speaker and listener if you realize this.
Unfortunately, many English learners react negatively when they hear a native speaker speaking in a way that they're not used to. They say things like, "I don't like that person's pronunciation. That person doesn't speak good English. I prefer British English," or "I prefer American English. That person's English sounds wrong. I can't understand." But here's the thing. In a real-life situation, like a job interview, a meeting, or a party, you'll meet native speakers from different places with different accents. It's your responsibility to understand them and communicate with them. They aren't going to change how they talk for you. So, what can you do about this?
Don't just listen to one kind of English. If you love the sound of classical British English, then fine, but listen to other voices too. You can train yourself to understand almost anything, but you need time and practice. Listen to a range of voices and accents regularly, and you'll be able to understand more of what native speakers say to you. Before we finish, we have a question for you. In which situations do you find it most difficult to understand native English speakers? Please let us know in the comments.
You can find more of our free English lessons on our website, oxfordonlineenglish.com. Thanks for watching.
See you next time.
Okay, very good. So very useful information. I'm gonna share with you the link of this video too, for you to have it. Really nice tips. So I would like to hear So we stop in number 2. So which was number 3? Someone who would like to share tip number 3. Understanding listening, understanding a language. Uh-huh.
Well, I think it was about guessing the missing word or something like that.
Okay,
When
okay.
you say like you ready and you don't say the word are you ready, but it's not necessary to say it.
Perfect. Yeah, that's nice. I mean, Nancy, I mean, that's what she said. The person in the video said that it's not necessary for us to understand that it should, by listening or speaking, you need to use the language, grammatically correct. So there will be some times that native speakers specifically leave out words, right? Instead of saying, "Are you ready?" Just ready. So this is the point that I want to highlight: how important intonation is when we are listening. Intonation tells us a lot of things. Like, "Are you ready?" Just by saying "ready," and that's the point. Sometimes when we get lost. So that was number 3. Number 4. What was number 4? Rest of the class. Brenda Chavez. What's number 4? What was number 4?
How to use context?
Yes. Talk a little bit more about that, please.
Yeah, it said that using context helps you to understand everything that someone wants to say.
Okay.
Or maybe you can ask if you don't understand, you can ask, what did you say?
Okay. Good. Very good. Thank you, Brenda. Yeah, I mean, it's not necessary for us to understand every single word to understand the meaning of what the people are saying. Good. It's not necessary. And the last one, yeah, and of course, but what Brenda said, ask. If you don't understand, ask. Got it? And number 5, what is number 5? What's the tip number 5? Tip number 5. Joel, Maravilla.
I'm not sure, but I think it was something related to the accent, like British and American accent.
Okay,
But
good.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, exactly. Well, what the people in the video meant to say is that we do not need to get familiarized only with one type of accents. That we should be aware that there are more accents and people, speak another way. Probably you may like one type of accent, for example. As I said, people in the US, they have different accents. You have African Americans, you have Asians, you have Hindu, you have Latinos, I mean, Hebrews, Saudi Arabians, Chinese, Japanese, all of these ones. So you may probably like one type. Like, for example, in my case, I like British accent better than American. but because we speak American accent, so that's why, right? So very good, very, very good. So we're going to close. It is 4:01, and we took a little bit longer. What I'm going to do, the exercises that were supposed to be developed during the class, I'm going to post them into the platform. I'm going to do it on Monday. And I'm going to post more exercises too. And I will post some extra material for you to read and that we're going to discuss next Saturday. So also on Monday, I'm gonna post the check the answer sheet of the exercises that we developed last Saturday, and for us to check again the scores. Okay, so thanks for letting me know. Thanks also for being patient for the inconvenience that we had. Remember, try to get to Campus Univo and check the link, uh, because every link is going to be different every Saturday, because I mean these people in my office are erasing the links, so, and I don't want that to happen. Okay, so we're going to finish like that. Thank you so much. Also, if you have any other comment or any other question, hi, Mr. Peña added me to the WhatsApp group, so you may ask me over there in the WhatsApp group, in the group specifically, if you have any other type of question, or something, you cannot attend the class or etc., you can send me a side message and I may be glad to help you a little bit with that. So we're done with this. Please remember, also I'm going to upload the presentation that I used with the type of questions. We're going to talk about questions, the type of questions B and C. So today we focused about the dialogues. So there are some other two that we need to study, and the exercises that I'm going to put on Monday are related to the dialogues, right? So we're going to do that. Please check Campus Univo. Everything is going to be there. Do you have any question, any comment? No, we're fine. Perfect. So we're going to finish right now. Thank you so much. See you next Saturday.